It started in wet conditions, at least greasy conditions. Thomas Anderson was the pole sitter for Resume More Than Racing as this one got underway at Portimão, the inaugural 6 hours of Portimão. Marco Antonelli running a little bit wide early doors, and that allowed Jörg Wiebahn to quickly go by. The lead changed after a few minutes of the race as Oliver Webb started picking his way through the field, leading the early stages for Greystone GT. And Marco Antonelli suddenly woke up about 20 minutes into the race and gained 2 places in short order. The second one on Thomas Anderson gained with a little bit of a hit check along the way. Antonelli, though, would soon be into the pits for a unique short stint strategy that AKM Motorsport was implementing. Further back, or further on around the race, we saw the Porsches of various types running around the circuit. Simon Birch would soon grab the keys, hypothetical keys, to that GT3R and start setting fast laps around the circuit. Some Porsche Cayman warfare going on as well further back, several laps apart at this stage, mind you, as the GT4 leading Lion Speed car went out wide. Joel Herman saw the opportunity to dive to the inside of the first corner, then maybe lent slightly too far to the outside going around turn 1, and the result was a suspension damaging and ultimately suspension breaking impact, unfortunately, for the East Racing Motorsport car. That was another driver change going on down there at Resume More Than Racing. The first stint for Simon Birch was complete around 3 hours into the race. Thomas Anderson hopping back behind the wheel for his second and final appearance in the race, and he was doing a good job of matching Jörg's pace in the Landgraf Mercedes. There was a spin towards the middle of the race as well for Monteros Competizos in their BMW M4 GT4. They did reach the flag in 10th position. However, some dramas, small dramas at least, for them on their way to the flag. Oliver Webb was on the attack, having been given the number 240 car once again. In fact, no, this was Peed, I believe it was actually. Ed Peed at the wheel of the number 240 car at that time in the race, just making some track time up while being a couple of laps down. Nico Menzel made an uncharacteristic error at the top of the hill at turn 10, but that would be one of very few feet put wrong by the number 88 A-Works duo during the race. Meanwhile, Raffaele Gianmaria was giving chase in the 5th hour of the race there in the AKM Motorsport machine, in fact 4th hour of the race at that time. And then there was an unfortunate issue, one of many for NM Racing Team. Jonathan Curry picking up a puncture on the approach to turn 15 in car 15, and ultimately would only lose out by 35 seconds in GT4. What could have been without some of those errors and issues that happened for NM Racing Team. They also had to fix the suspension in the first hour of the race. They had to spend 3 minutes more in the pits than the rules say they have to, and that was ultimately what cost them the GT4 win. The big Bentley was still running around for Team MJC, as we saw there. Their main objective was to finish. We were very much hoping that they would succeed in doing that. This was Tom Callender making his way by Borodin, who did 2 stints of the race. We're unsure initially whether we'd see Andre Borodin twice, but he did decide to brave a second stint in the highly physical McLaren 720S GT3 Evo. The Resume More Than Racing Porsche was holding a gap around a minute. Sometimes it went up to a minute 20, other times it went down to about 50 seconds. But all told, the Porsche was in control of the race for much of the distance. Unfortunately, about 25-30 minutes short of the distance, the Bentley came to a halt on the inside of the final corner, got towed back in to the pit lane, and that would be the end of the day for Matthew Graham, Whit Gamsky and Team MJC. Some more squabbling going on right to the end, in some cases for overall position, but mostly just for pride among the final drivers. That was Ed Peed dispatching some of the traffic as he took the McLaren 720S GT3 Evo from Greystone GT to the checkered flag and 4th overall. no one seemed to be able to match, if not the pace, the consistency of Simon Birch. Unfortunately, East Racing's long crabbing suspension would finally give up the ghost less than 20 minutes from home. And Monteros Competitos also had to do some late servicing on their car to make sure it reached the checkered flag. But at the end of it all, with 187 laps in the rearview mirror, it was Resoon More Than Racing that claimed the win in the inaugural Guidlish Racing 6 hours of Portimão. 1:08 clear of Tom Callender from Landgraf. And of course, with him, Jörg Wiesmann as well. Raffaele Gianmaria in 3rd position for AKM Motorsport. Ed Peed in 4th position. Nico Menzel in 5th place, number 88. Gustav Söderberg Krö in 6th position. Svante Andersson rounding out that Cup 2 podium. That's the designation in white, in 7th overall. Stephen Berntsen winning GT4 in 8th place overall. Ian Loggy in 9th place, or John Ian Loggy to give him his full name. Ricardo Costa rounding out the finishers in 10th position. That was the last car to take the checkered flag. Unfortunately, Matthew Graham in the Bentley, the MJC car, withdrawing, as did the East Racing Motorsport Porsche of Joel Herman.